Howdy y'all, I'm your game show reviewer, reviewing the game show greats and the occasional dud, and welcome back, my friends, to a very special episode of Reviewers 5-Minute Reviews, or just simply 5-Minute Reviews, a show that you turn on if you're too lazy to read the Wikipedia page. Well, you might be wondering what makes this episode so special. Normally we feature one game show in a 5-minute review, while today we're going to feature two, and it just so happens that these two are part of a larger topic that goes into compare and contrasting. Basically what I'm saying is we got a very full show lined up, so let's just get started. And as for my location, it's my show, I can do whatever I want to do. If you've never heard of this show before, then I would like to be the first to welcome you to the Game Show Reviewer, first-time viewer. I hope you enjoy your stay and check out the backlog too. Yeah, this show has had some history with Pyramid. We're going to go into compare and contrasting, so I think a Pyramid primer is in order. Therefore, this is a 5-minute review of Pyramid. We're going to go through this quickly, as this show's been featured no less than, I think, 3 different times now. Pyramid is a very simple game, sort of like the board game Taboo. We start off with 2 teams of 2, celebrities paired up with civilian contestants. After the grand introduction of the celebrities and our host, we get a brief conversation and introduction with the contestants. Gameplay starts when the host shows the players a board consisting of 6 different categories. There are sometimes some sort of pun, something akin to Jeopardy's categories actually. Returning champion rules in effect on the show, and their team usually goes first. A category is picked, and the meaning behind the category is revealed.
Don't let go. Whatever that may be.
Well, I'll clarify it for you. You are to describe for Janet these things people hold. Things people...
There are 7 words in each category, and the contestant can use anything except synonyms and the word or part of the word itself to get their partner to say the word. Heck, even charades were allowed in the front game.
This is a guy who's always pushing somebody else around. He always picks on the little guy. He's
Bully.
known as the block right.
That's it. You've won the try. Congratulations. That's your first win. Let's go to the winner's circle and try for $10,000.
The winner of this front game round goes on to the winner's circle. Basically, the same rule applies here, except now the clue giver is restricted to giving a list of clues that can't be too descriptive. We have 60 seconds to get through 6 categories and win the jackpot. There is more to say about the jackpot, but I'm going to keep this brief and I'm just going to say jackpot. Assuming they don't take the jackpot, you might notice these dollar values on the back of the boxes. These are the prize for the contestant to clear the category and also used to calculate the champion of the day in the event no one clears the board that day. Coming back from the commercial break, the second front game round is identical, except the celebrities are switched around. Second winner's circle round is also identical. We have the host sign off and we're done.
We'll see you all again tomorrow night. For now, Dick Clark. So long.
The first incarnation of Pyramid looked like this, and it premiered as the $10,000 Pyramid on March 26, 1973. 1 year and a network change later, a nighttime syndicated show was launched titled the $25,000 Pyramid. The original $10,000 Pyramid got a jackpot bump on January 19, 1976 to become the $20,000 Pyramid, and lasted until June 27, 1980. The $25,000 Pyramid, meanwhile, lasted for a solid 5 years until September 9, 1979. On January 26, 1981, the Pyramid proved it still had staying power, and it was relaunched as the $50,000 Pyramid. Well, for 6 months at least. 1 year later, on September 20th, 1982, the $25,000 Pyramid, originally titled the New $25,000 Pyramid, was launched. In total, that show lasted 6 years until June 1st, 1988. During that golden age of Pyramid, though, another syndicated pyramid showed up in the form of the $100,000 Pyramid. Now, that show ran from September 9th, 1985 to September 2nd, 1988, and it even saw a brief return to air in 1991, hosted by John Davidson. And from September 16, 2002 to September 10th, 2004, absolutely nothing happened. Absolutely nothing at all. Nothing worth talking about anyway. Moving on. A few pilots later, Game Show Network finally got the Pyramid back on the air in September of 2012, this time called The Pyramid. And it lasted all of 2 months. And in case I haven't made it clear by now, this show was awesome. No, this show was legendary. I'd recommend giving it a watch if it was still on the air. And thanks to ABC, that is once again possible. Beginning on June 26, 2016, the legendary game show once again returned to television.
From the ABC studios in New York, this is the $100,000 Pyramid.
And what a grand entrance this show can make. I'm going to point this out right quick. I know this isn't the same show that got canned at the end of the 80s, but wow, does it sure feel like it is. From the celebrity introduction right down to the gameplay. Oh, and by the way, I really like that Trilon flip the winner circle board does right before the celebrities are introduced. Our host this time is Michael Strahan.
Welcome to the $100,000 Pyramid, the game show that guarantees satisfaction every single time.
The format is identical. The set is a beautiful update of the original, and even all the sound effects have carried over. Except for one. Sorta. I think I referenced this back in my mini Themes of Pyramid episode.
Rubber duckies in tubs.
There was also a rule change, and it's one I don't like. Specifically, it's a change to the way ties work in the front game. See, on the original show, a tie was resolved by asking one team to decide between words that started with one letter or another. They would then have the standard 30 seconds to clear all 7 words. The opposing team, meanwhile, would either have to top their score or clear all 7 words quicker, as their clock was set to as long as it took the first team to clear all the words. It's a bit of a drag on time, sure, but it's a good, challenging, earn your reward type of rule. The new pyramid, however, did away with all that. Now, in the event of a front game tie, the times to clear the team's categories was totaled up, with the ultimate winner being whoever cleared their categories quicker. Now, I understand that time restraints probably say this is a good change, but personally, I think it sort of puts an unnecessary subtle pressure on the contestants during the front game to clear their board quicker. That and the victory doesn't really feel earned. Oh well, at least we have the long-awaited return of a classic bonus from the original game. Welcome back, Mystery 7. And the best part about this bonus is that no rules change. It's a perfect replica of the way it was originally played. Clear the board without knowing what all the words had in common, and what is usually a vacation package is all yours. I do have one minor complaint, though, and that's sometimes Michael actually forgets to tell us what the category was. It's a very minor annoyance, though, and I can live with it. You know, there really isn't much else to say here that I haven't already, so I'll simply wrap up by saying that this legendary game show is continuing to prove that it has plenty of life left in it.
Thank you for watching at home. The $100,000 Pyramid continues with more fun and excitement right now.
And for our next game show, please join me in welcoming to the limelight my AI, Sarah, over at Canyondale. Sarah, over to you.
Thank you, Captain. And hello, fellow game show fans. My name is Sarah, and this is still Reviewers 5-Minute Reviews. Or just simply 5-Minute Reviews. And then some. ABC didn't stop with merely reviving the $100,000 Pyramid. They actually revived 3 game shows in the summer of 2016. The $100,000 Pyramid was one of them, and they paired it with their revival of Match Game. Now, we've touched on Match Game before on this show, but it's never been given a full review. Until now. Oh, well, sort of. This is a 5-minute review of Match Game. Match Game, which when you get down to it could be interpreted as a televised version of Mad Libs, made its debut on NBC on December 31st, 1962, hosted by Gene Rayburn. Now, the show that premiered looked very different from the one we all know today. In fact, let's start at the beginning. We have 2 teams consisting of a celebrity team captain and 2 civilian contestants. Gene would ask both teams at the same time a question with unlimited possibilities, such as this here.
Write down the name of a big dog. Name a big dog.
And there was the more familiar Match Game style fill-in-the-blank sentences as well. Who were they trying to match, you ask? Simple. Each other. Each match brought the team 25 points. By the way, in the event that no one matched anyone, Gene would just move on to the next question. The first team to successfully make 4 matches, it was only possible to make 2 per round, moved on to a slightly more familiar-looking audience match round. Here, the winning team would be trying to match audience survey answers. Think Family Feud questions, because that's basically it. Gene would give them 3 different questions to attempt to match the number 1 answer. Each successful number 1 answer match was worth $150 for a grand total of $450. Remember, it's the early 60s, so that was actually a semi-decent amount of money.
We thank you and we welcome you to the match game, a game of judgment played by two teams headed by a celebrity guest.
When Match Game made its TV debut in 1962, it opened to a grand collective meh. Unfortunately, it appeared this new creation was going to be a dud. In fact, when it came time for the renewal decision to be handed down, there was nothing but silence, which in the industry usually means you're canned. With 6 weeks still left to go in production, a producer who worked for Mad Magazine finally decided the show needed some humor injected. Up until this point, these were generic fill-in-the-blank questions. This producer took the idea upstairs, where he basically got the reply of, "We're canceled anyway, do whatever you want." So out went the old generic fill-in-the-blank questions, and in came the more familiar Match Game style questions.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now complete this sentence with the amount you think your teammates will write down. To a rich man, blank dollars is nothing.
And just like that, they had a hit! This incarnation of The Match Game lasted a solid 5.5 years before going off the air, but it didn't stay in the game show purgatory for long.
And we hope you'll join us tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, for another session of The Match Game. This is Gene Rayburn saying so long.
Play the 1973 edition of Match Game. And here's the host of Match Game, Gene Rayburn.
The version of Match Game that would go on to become the most famous premiered its production run on June 2nd, 1973. Once again with the legendary game show host, Gene Rayburn at its helm.
Thank you very much. I gotta say a warm word of greeting to these beautiful, gifted, celebrated people. Hello.
The gameplay was shuffled around a bit to get more celebrities on the panel and probably to cut down potential confusion on the contestant side. Here, there were only 2 contestants in head-to-head competition. The objective is really quite simple. Gather either 6 total points or more points than your opponent in 2 rounds. Of course, points are determined by matches to the panel. Now, here's the kicker. Once a celebrity was matched in round 1, they couldn't play in round 2 for that contestant. So when I say 6 points, it's really more like match all 6 celebrities in 2 rounds. The returning champion rule is in play on the daytime show with no episode limit, but with a cash limit of $25,000. A later change said contestants would be forced to retire after hitting $25,000, but could keep everything won up to $35,000. This change wasn't really necessary, as only 1 contestant in the 6-year run of the daytime show retired undefeated. The bonus game here was once again audience match, but like everything else, very simplified. There was only one 2-word phrase with one of the words blanked out. All the contestant would have to do is match one of the 3 answers posted on the board, preferably the number 1 answer. They could also consult 3 of the celebrities for assistance, but they didn't have to take their advice. A number 3 match was worth $100, number 2 worth $250, and finally, a number 1 answer was worth $500.
All right, King Arthur, Sir Lancelot here calling. Are you under the $500 response? Yes.
This time, audience match was only one half of the fun. This whole bonus game was actually called Super Match. The second half was a one-on-one match with a celebrity. Very simply put, should the contestant match the celebrity, their audience match winnings were multiplied by 10. And if there were no matches, that carried no penalty. Originally, the choice of celebrity was up to the contestant, but there was one panelist who stood out as being exceptionally good at this round. So good, he eventually got his own show that had its basis on the audience match. Gee, wonder who that could be.
There's a big hit TV show. Called Happy Days, which was, of course, before I was born. So I wrote Born Day or Birthday.
No, seriously, if you know who it was, please let me know in the comments below. Anyways, the producers picked up on this and decided to make it more fair. So they introduced the Star Wheel.
And there's our new Star Wheel. Look at that. Isn't that something? Wow.
One nice bonus feature of the Star Wheel was it offered up a chance to double the potential winnings. Effectively, instead of a multiplier of 10 for the audience match, it became a multiplier of 20. letting random chance decide the celebrity sounds like a good idea in theory. Too bad on its very first spin, it backfired.
Slowing down, and let's see if you're going to snap in one of the gold star areas. And you just missed it.
Anyways, like I said earlier, the returning champion rule was in place for only the daytime show. The syndicated nighttime show, called Match Game PM, was more self-contained and therefore had more time to work with, as the end of the show meant the end of the contestants' run. To help with padding out the show's runtime, a third round was added. Additionally, for both shows, there was a tiebreaker feature if needed. Both scores were reset to 0, and a tiebreaker round was played. On the PM version, the tiebreaker round was abbreviated somewhat. Both contestants would be given the same question and would write their answers. Then, the celebrities would be asked for a verbal answer. The first to match a celebrity would be a winner.
Well, living in California for 7 years, I would say rainstorm.
The simplicity of this game show, coupled with a multitude of celebrities who all wanted in on the fun, kept this show going very strong. Like I said, the original daytime version had a 6-year run ending on April 20th, 1979. The syndicated Match Game PM, which was a weekly show, by the way, ran from September 8th, 1975 to September 13th, 1981. And finally, there was a syndicated daytime show that ran from September 10th, 1979 to September 10th, 1982. All told, the original Match Game ran for just over 9 years total. And there were various revivals here and there with very short runs. For instance, ABC had a year-long show from 1990 to 1991. And there was a syndicated year-long show that ran from September 21st, 1998 to September 17th, 1999. Not to mention, it was one of 6 game shows specifically revived for CBS's Game Show Marathon in 2006. But before I turn it over to the reviewer for his thoughts on the 2016 revival, there is one other game show we have to talk about. Have you ever been watching The Price is Right and heard this?
A new electric car!
It used to be very commonly known as a new car prize music cue on The Price is Right. However, its origins actually dabble in match game history, as well as another game show. Check it out.
It's time for the Match Game. Hollywood Squares, our win from...
It only aired for less than a year, from Halloween 1983 to July 27th, 1984. And interestingly enough, it hasn't been rerun since. The Match Game Hollywood Squares Hour basically combined both Hollywood Squares and Match Game into one game show. Very basically, Gene Rayburn hosted the Match Game portion, which was played first. There was no returning champion for Match Game here. And the format was Match Game PM. The only difference was the tiebreaker function was more super match style. Anyways, the winner of the 3 rounds of Match Game didn't immediately go to super match. They went to Hollywood Squares, where we had the returning champion. The winner of the game of Hollywood Squares would then play Super Match, which had a bit of a prize money bump for the audience match. The one-on-one match also had a few changes. As the Hollywood Squares portion needed 9 celebrities, all 9 participated in the one-on-one match. You'll notice they now have cards in front of them too. The contestant was once again free to choose whichever celebrity they wanted, as those cards either had 10, 20, or 30 marked on them. That number is what the contestants' winnings would be multiplied by, meaning a grand total of $30,000 was up for grabs here.
Ball. Racket ball. Racket ball. I think we're in luck here, Patty, because I wrote ball down.
Like I said, it lasted less than a year, but it's an interesting addition to Match Game history. Oh, and since we're focused on Match Game, I didn't feel the need to go into the Hollywood Squares portion. We'll save that for another day.
And we thank you, stars, and we'll see Patty tomorrow. Gene Rayburn inviting you to join us tomorrow. John Bauman saying so long for the Match Game Hollywood Squares there. R-A-C-K, I'm going to write that down. Hold on.
Captain on deck.
At ease, Sarah, at ease. No need for all the formality. You did a really good job reviewing Match Game, by the way. And if I need any more help in the future, I just might be calling on you, so keep up the reviewing skills.
Oh, I will, sir. I'll keep it up like I have my own show.
Gotta get the monitor looked at. All right, well, anyways, back to June 26, 2016, where after the $100,000 pyramid debuted, we were treated to this.
Get ready to match the stars. Titus Burgess, Rosie O'Donnell, Michael Ian Black.
Do you happen to recall my Many Themes Of episode where I talked about the new pyramid theme song? Well, there's absolutely no need to do so here because this is about as close to the original theme song as you're ever going to get as far as the game show relaunch is concerned. Everything here is almost perfectly identical to the original 1972 match game. We aren't following Match Game PM's 3-round rule, however, as by the time 2016 rolled around, there's no need to pad out runtime. No, here we only have 2 rounds. Each episode is self-contained. There's no returning champion rule here. And I do have to say, just like the relaunched Pyramid, this set feels like it's basically the exact same one from 1972, only modernized with a budget. The front game is played perfectly identical to the original. The only tiny little details that are different are basically set design differences. About the only other change was to Supermatch, and it wasn't even to the rules, it was to the cash value. Now it ran from $2,000 for a number 3 match, $3,000 for a number 2 match, and finally $5,000 for a number 1 match. The winnings, however, will only be multiplied by 5, meaning there's a total of $25,000 up for grabs here. There's no star wheel, and no telling if they'll eventually add it. For now, I will say my one problem here, and it's an extremely minor one. It's host Alec Baldwin. Maybe it's just me, but he seems to be trying too hard here. Gene Rayburn rolled with the questions and answers very smoothly compared to Alec Baldwin. Again, it's probably just personal preference, because aside from that one little thing, I consider this to be an absolutely perfect relaunch of Match Game. And I'm more than happy to check out the new Match Game and, of course, the newly relaunched $100,000 Pyramid at any time that they're on. And I encourage you all to do the same. Let's prove that these game show greats have true staying power. And with that, I think it's time to wrap things up. This 5-minute review special is turning out to be, 20 minutes by now? Well, be sure to check out our digital domains, starting with the official website available at that address right there. Then, of course, there's the official Facebook page at that address right there. And, of course, don't forget the Twitter feed available at that handle right there. Speaking for Sarah as well, we're your game show reviewers, reviewing the game show greats and the occasional dud. And I'll see you next time.